Orders of the day.
Ballot item number 72, private member's notice of motion number 14. Ms. Thompson.
The member for Huron Bruce.
Speaker, I move that in the opinion of this House, the government should recognize the importance of agri-food literacy by ensuring that the Ministry of Education includes a mandatory component of career opportunities associated with Ontario's agri-food industry in the grades 9 and 10 guidance and career education curriculum.
Ms. Thompson has moved private member's notice of motion number 14. Pursuant to Standing Order 98, the member has 12 minutes for a presentation. The member for Huron Bruce.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I would like to start my comments off by commending my good friends and neighbours, the MPP from Perth Wellington and the MPP from Grey Bruce Owen Sound, on their thoughtful and relevant PBMs they shared with us this afternoon. I know firsthand how committed they are to their constituents and how committed they are to holding this government to account, and I thank them for that. And in the spirit of the Blue Jays, I can't help but remark on the member from Great Bruce Owen Sound's haircut. Clearly, he idolizes Josh Donaldson. So that would make the member from Perth Wellington Batista. And I guess this afternoon I have the opportunity and honour of being Encarnacion. I'll be the cleanup hitter this afternoon, and we're going to hit it out of the park with this one. So with that, Speaker, I want to talk about a very important element that I have been committed to my entire career. After University of Guelph, I worked for the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, after which I became General Manager for the Ontario Dairy Goat Cooperative, and that cooperative allowed me the opportunity to realize and continue my support for an organization called Ontario Agri-Food Education. Speaker, this is an organization that has been around for a number of years. In fact, it evolved out of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food and Rural Affairs. And next year, in 2016, it will be celebrating its 25th anniversary. And that anniversary is going to be special because for 25 years, they've worked hard to ensure teachers who are interested in teaching about agriculture in the classroom from primary through to the senior high school years had proper curriculum to base their teachings on. But, Speaker, we need to do better. And my motion is very, very important. And I'll get to that in a second, because some might say that, well, agriculture in the classroom is already happening. And, Speaker, I disagree with that. I have to tell you that it isn't happening consistently throughout the province. And my motion is very specifically about ensuring every single grade 9 and 10 student in Ontario is aware of the amazing job opportunities that they may want to consider. Food production, meaning farming, computer science, research and technology, food science, marketing, processing, and mechanical engineering are just a few of the careers. I could go on. The list is truly endless. But what I really want to share is that this list, that is endless, underscores the importance of young people being aware. Because I can tell you that we know the agri-food industry is an industry whereby there are jobs without people. We've known this for some time. In fact, I'm sure some people some of the members throughout this entire House will recall a few years ago when a report came out from the University of Guelph that stated for every new grad there were 3 or 4 jobs waiting for them. So clearly, there's a gap here. And my motion today, which has been strongly supported throughout the agri-food industry, is about closing that gap. My motion today is about all of us here in this House, all 107 members, working together so we can help the Premier realize a goal that she had. When the Premier was Minister of Agriculture and Food a couple of years ago, she challenged the agri-food industry, Speaker, to create 120,000 new jobs by 2020. It's an inspiring goal, because we know this government likes to have aspirational goals, but we won't talk about neonics today. We want to talk about helping the Premier close that gap and help people realize that there are amazing jobs out there. But they'll only realize that if it's made mandatory to teach about the amazing Agri-Food careers in grades 9 and 10 career and guidance curriculum. Now, I want to take a moment and reflect on some of the support that I've received over the last 6 months since I first introduced this motion during Local Food Week in June. For instance, Robert Gordon, the Dean of the Ontario Agricultural College and University of Guelph, said, "This motion will support an improved level of awareness of the sector and the huge and growing opportunities that exist within." Colleen Smith, Executive Director for Ontario Agri-Food Education, said, "OAFE is committed to supporting the economic success of the agri-food industry in Ontario by helping students understand trends and themes occurring in the sector, while at the same time motivating them to explore the diverse career opportunities that exist." James Rillett, Vice President of Restaurants Canada, said, "Today's consumers want to know where their food comes from, but they also want to know about the process. This understanding needs to start earlier. Including agriculture and food education in the Ontario curriculum is a great place to start." Don McCabe, who we all know and love in this House, President of the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, said, "OFA supports this initiative, recognizing the importance of helping youth learn of the varied and growing opportunities available in the agri-food sector." Mark Brock, Chair of Grain Farmers Ontario, said, I'll start that one again. Mark Brock said, "Educating youth on the wide range of career choices that exist will help fill the gap the agriculture industry is currently facing." Jim Getz, President of the Canadian Beverage Association, went on to say, "To encourage more young people to get involved and excited about the agri-food sector is beneficial for local communities and all Ontarians. CBA supports any future opportunities to promote growing in this important sector of our economy and make Ontario a leader within Canada's agri-food industry." And last but not least, Plowman Plantov of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business said, "Adding agri-food education to curriculum will allow younger generations to understand the options that are available to them." And that's really what this is about. This isn't about voluntarily having cute little segments about agriculture in the classroom. This is about making students absolutely, positively excited and aware of their future job opportunities. And I share that, Speaker, because it's important to recognize the significance the agri-food sector has here alone in the GTHA. In December of 2013, the Toronto Census Metropolitan Area announced that there were 1,149 food and beverage manufacturing establishments employing over 51,000 people. And they also went on to say, within Ontario, Toronto dominates the provincial food industry, with more than half of all the food processing in the province taking place within the Greater Toronto region. About 47.2% of Ontario's employment in the food and beverage sector was in Toronto, and the total annual sales were estimated to be $16.9 billion, or, as I said, 47.2% of Ontario's annual sales of $35.81 billion in 2011. Speaker, this is a huge industry, and we can't afford to have good-paying jobs going without people recognizing an opportunity that lays there. And I share that because in speaking to people from Conestoga College who have a wonderful food service program, they shared their dismay with me because they can't fill the seats that they have dedicated towards food science. They don't have enough students aware and interested in applying. And when we want our young people to stay in Ontario, when we want our young people to grow their families in Ontario, we need to ensure that they understand the viable opportunities that exist right here in Ontario as well. As I mentioned before, the whole concept of agriculture in the classroom has been around for quite some time. And again, I've dedicated my entire career to ensuring that young people have an appreciation of agriculture, but more importantly, understand the future that allows this province to feel good about keeping our young people here in this province. It's about economics, and we all know that the agri-food sector in Ontario is, some would say, the second largest to the automotive industry. But as the president from the Federation of Agriculture points out, you can't eat a car. So the agri-food industry is incredibly important to this province. And I also want to share with you that teachers need to be comfortable in teaching agricultural content. And my understanding is the Minister of Education earlier today said, well, this is already happening in Ontario. Well, Speaker, the fact of the matter is there are some areas of Ontario, primarily rural Ontario, that do indeed have high-skill major programs focusing in on primary agriculture, which is excellent. But, Speaker, we have to do better. Again, all Ontarians need to be aware of the opportunities, and we need to grow awareness about jobs in the agri-food sector. And OAFI is the perfect partner. OAFI is an organization that has ex officios from both the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs and Education at the board table, helping guide them in the right direction so every effort and every investment made in curriculum is a fit. And they being OAFI, also have an amazing program known as Teacher Ambassadors. So while there might be some teachers not comfortable with teaching content that they're not familiar with, OAFI is there to support these teachers with their ambassadors. And it's a great program where young teachers who may not be able to get a full-time job or to get on a supply list have an opportunity to hone their skills as teacher ambassadors and build up their toolbox, all the while promoting the agri-food sector. And I think this is just an amazing program that enables my motion to transcend into the Ministry of Education in a very smooth manner, and I'll explain that just as I close. Speaker, my motion is not about a new spend. It's not about creating something new. This motion is about realizing what we already have at our disposal. We have an amazing not-for-profit organization that will be celebrating its 25th anniversary next year, and we can couple that with a curriculum that's already in place by embedding agri-food careers into grade 9 and 10 curriculum. This is a win for everyone, and hopefully by 2020, the agri-food sector has created 120,000 new jobs. Thank you very much.